Hi guys and gals and all my non-binary friends. So today I wanted to have a conversation about Joseline's Cabaret. So this is what happened. My sister and her friend were watching Joseline Cabaret, and I saw like the first the second season. I saw a couple of episodes with them, and then my sister started like watching the third season, but the third season is currently running right now. And so I just kind of got like interested in it because what happened was, first of all, Joseline is just a very interesting subject matter to begin with, but also I was watching the barbecue episode. I believe that's the first episode that I really was like sitting in with my sister by herself and watching. And in the barbecue episode, you have a black woman, Amber, and a Puerto Rican woman, and I don't know what the Puerto Rican woman's friends ethnicity is. I have no idea, but the black woman, Amber, she has an issue with both these two best friends or whatever, and they get into a heated argument. Joseline calls them into a room and they get into a heated argument, and they're basically like, you lucky I won't beat your ass. You lucky I won't beat your ass, basically. Like they ready to squabble. And so as they're ready to squabble, I hear the Puerto Rican woman,
both of you hoes out. Look how pussy you is. I wish somebody would get in my face. And it's two of y'all.
What the fuck up? You know I ain't pussy. Stop playing with me, nigga. The fuck?
Both of you bitches
saying the N-word, and my brain is breaking. Like, I'm literally sitting here like, Hosanna, my sister's name, Hosanna, my brain is breaking. Why isn't she punching this girl in the face? Because she's literally, first of all, you're already mad, y'all already got beef, and then you're calling me the N-word. You got me fucked up. And why is Joseline not saying anything? But my sister's just like, girl, you know they don't give a fuck. You know they don't give a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck about that. And I'm like, okay, whatever. But if it was me, I'd be punching the bitch in the face. So I watched that episode and nothing happened. And then the next Sunday, because it comes out every Sunday, I ended up watching another episode with my sister. Then at the end of that episode, they advertised that on the next episode.
Who said the N-word?
It makes me feel uncomfortable.
Jordan, you said the N-word?
This one right here. On my brother's grave, I'm being your...
So Joseline and the girls were going to confront somebody about saying the N-word. And lo and behold, look at me, I'm dumbfounded. I'm shocked. I'm like, y'all didn't give a fuck what she was saying right in front of y'all face. So what are y'all talking about? Like, literally, what are y'all talking about? I was so fucking confused. So I had to continue. I had to watch it. The teaser got me. It did what it had to do because it got me. I was like, Hosanna, do not watch it without me. I need to know what happens. So this past Sunday, the N-word episode came, and it was so like infuriating. It was infuriating for a bunch of different reasons. Okay, first of all, it was just used as a black trauma is being just sold to you guys to watch an episode because no one was actually handled on the. I mean, Amber did punch the girl in the face.
I hear you saying it again. On my brother's grave, I'm being your ass. Say nigga again.
Girl, I make a lot of black lives.
Yo, relax. Can I tell you not to?
But this is my thing. Let's start off with Joseline Hernandez. Joseline Hernandez is the Puerto Rican princess. From my visual context, she's Afro-Latina. Like, Amber kept saying...
Me.
That's like me telling him...
She can't say nigga if she don't
Okay,
look like
that's
me.
your opinion, friend.
If you ain't got bees in the back of your head, if you ain't got cootie balls, if you ain't got nappy roots, you can't say nigga.
Amber's a black woman. She kept saying, unless you have BDBs and look like me, you can't say the N-word. And Joseline had like a little rap on the whole time during this episode, but you could definitely see her BDBs in the back. That is an Afro-Latina, okay? But Joseline is a Puerto Rican princess. She's Puerto Rican and she's Afro-Latina. So my thing is, if Joseline was worth the money that they were paying for her, not just for entertainment value, but actually like, you know, gave a damn, it would have been so interesting for her to confront this white Puerto Rican woman about the fact that you cannot say the N-word. But instead...
Listen,
My bad.
she said nigga in your face. That's why you hit her.
Yeah.
Now,
You know, I'm gonna tell y'all like this. We all need to do better using the N-word. Even with me, I try not to do it in front of Bonnie. I don't want to keep carrying this word. And
she makes it a thing of like, we all need to get better and not saying the N-word. And honestly, Joseline did not give a fuck about them saying the N-word. The N-word was brought up, and so she had to play her role. And she literally was like, who said the N-word? And she points to the whitest person in the room and it's like, Jordan, you said the N-word? And Jordan, this white girl, is just like, oh, no, ma'am, no, I would never, oh my God. And she literally was like, I'm gonna shit in myself. The thing to me about Joseline is that over the week, people were like, I kept seeing this meme like, oh, Joseline's only funny because that shit is not directed at you. And I just find it interesting. for a lot of people, comedy is cruelty. Like, comedy is just like, oh, be as offensive, rude, and nasty and mean to someone, and you're a comedic genius. Like, you're a comedic genius, and it's just like, what value does that add? None whatsoever, or whatever. And it's like, if she's only funny because she's directing at someone else, is she really funny? Like, truly. I think Joseline is an entertaining character, but I also don't find her antics funny, because I feel like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing here? You play up this part of, like, first of all, she's very abusive to these women. Like, she's very abusive. Even in the teaser for the next episode, she's pushing on Amber, the black girl, who was having all these issues with the girl saying the N-word, even though she didn't even help her for real, when it was time for the N-word to be, what is the word I'm looking for? What's the word I'm looking for? When it was time for the issue to be addressed and talked about, she asked this white girl, did you say the N-word? The white girl said no. And then when it was revealed that it was a Puerto Rican girl that said the N-word, she didn't have nothing to say, and she just let Amber go off, and then Amber punched her. And then the Puerto Rican girl, after she got socked in the fucking face, was still like, nigga, it's a part of my language. Like, she literally, the Puerto Rican girl was in the booth like,
Cause bitch, this is how I talk. You're not gonna educate me.
you're not going to educate me on nothing. It's a part of my language. It's a part of my language. It's how I speak. It's on my vocabulary. And then you have there's like only 2 other distinguished black women on this show. You have the other distinguished black woman. Her name is Kate Capri, telling Amber, like,
it's already in her vocabulary, you understand? It's a real fucked up culture thing, because she claims Puerto Rican.
You got to let it go. It's just, that's like a cultural thing. Like, everyone says it now. And then she's in the confessional, Kate Capri is, and she's like,
Like, the word nigga is like a cultural thing. Like, it's not really a race thing. I mean, besides white people being able to say nigger, she's Puerto Rican. Like, that's damn near close to black than fucking anything else.
I'm gonna stop you right there. No, the fuck it's not. Okay, so I actually have a history with dealing with non-black people saying the N-word very recently, last year actually. And lo and behold, the person that I was talking to was also Puerto Rican. And basically, when I asked them why they felt so comfortable saying the N-word, they called me. First of all, they said they had a black son, and then they called me the N-word like 5 times, and they told me to learn my history. So, you know, I'm an educated person. I like to find out new shit. So I did a little digging. Okay, first, in Puerto Rico, we got the Orioid people who migrated into what we know as Puerto Rico now. They probably weren't the first people there, but I guess that's the first people like documented. And then you have the Soledad, who displaced the Orioid people, and they ended up occupying that space. And then you have the Tano, I don't know, Tano, I don't know, but those are they displaced the Saladoy, and they are the indigenous people that most Puerto Ricans have in them right now, if there are indigenous people in those Puerto Ricans, because after the Tanoid, I'm gonna put all these words on the screen anyway. After they ended up displacing the Saladoy, then a couple of years later, that's when the Spanish came, and they, like, you know, colonized Puerto Rico and brought in African slavery. So I think people have a misunderstanding of like all of this shit. Like, just like you wouldn't say like, oh, you're American, there's black people in America, so you must be black to a white person. All Puerto Ricans are not black, right? I was looking at the data, and it shows that like almost half of them are multiracial, so they have a mosh posh of them races inside of most of the people in Puerto Rico, because of how long the colonization, just how long Spanish people, indigenous people, and the African slaves that the Spanish people brought over have been intermingling. But to me, this is my thing. My mom would never have to go point to me to say I'm black. My mom, if somebody was like, why are you, how can you think you're black? My mom would never say, well, look at my black child, because she's a black woman. She's a black woman. So for this Puerto Rican woman to tell me, oh, well, I have a black son, and oh, well, you need to learn the history of Puerto Rico. Girl, just because I know the history of Puerto Rico don't make you fucking black. First of all, let's get this out of the way. Race is a construct. It's not real. It's a construct built to distinguish white people from others, right? So let's get that out of the way. But then you look into the depth of it, and it's like, when you really think about it, a lot of that depends on the way you look. My whole thing about the N-word is, if the N-word would never be turned on you as a slur, meaning, oh, you're in camaraderie or whatever, because that's the way the girl was like, the Puerto Rican girl on Joseline's Cabaret was like, don't try to make this racist. This is part of my vocabulary. But the thing is, it became racist as soon as you started calling Amber the N-word in a argumentative, derogatory way. But that can never be turned on that Puerto Rican girl. I don't care what you say about Puerto Rican people having black in them, yada yada yada. It would never be turned on that Puerto Rican girl, because that Puerto Rican girl is a white Puerto Rican. She's a white Puerto Rican. You can see it. Maybe she got some indigenous in her, and hell, maybe back in the day, she got some black in her. But at the end of the day, when she walks through the world, she walks through as a white Hispanic Puerto Rican girl. That is what she walks through the world in. And for you to feel that comfortable to say that is just so disgusting. And that's why I'm saying Joseline's really not worth her weight in gold, because you, as an Afro-Latina, had all the power in that situation, and you did nothing. You did absolutely nothing to defend this black woman. You did absolutely nothing. You didn't even kick out the Puerto Rican girl for saying the N-word, even though you played it up like you really gave a fuck about who was saying the N-word. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. And I think, to me, non-black people who feel comfortable saying the N-word are no better than the colonizers and fetishizers of yesteryear. Because at the end of the day, you don't respect black people's pain. Because whether or not you're hanging out with a bunch of black people and they're like, yeah, it's fine, you're cool, you can say it. If you respect it, you have to have some respect for the people who actually, it causes pain to hear you saying that, right? And there's also this thing of like, well, if you can say it, I should be able to say it. You're a fucking colonizer. You're a fucking fetishizer. I would never, ever, whatever, I don't know indigenous or Puerto Rican cultural things that are important to them. I don't. But if I found out something I was doing was something significant and I shouldn't be doing, I would stop, because I respect people. You have no respect for black people's culture. You have no respect for black people's pain and their, trauma. And that's why you feel so comfortable taking ownership over something that was never for you, never meant for you. And based off the color of your fucking skin, based off of your phenotypes, the people who are in your blood are the ones that were cracking the whip and using that word in a derogatory way. It's really fucking disgusting. And it was really like, that episode was kind of re-traumatizing for me. Like, not in like a, like, it literally, I was like tearing up. I'm like, y'all literally sold this episode as, oh, we finna take on the N-word. And y'all did nothing. Y'all left a black woman there to defend herself and still end up allowing the person who's in there saying that fucked up shit to continue to be a part of this thing. And it's like, what was the fucking point? The point was to fucking boost the ratings, to get people who wouldn't normally show up for this show to show up. And it's like, how are you any better than the minstrel shows? How are you any better than all these other fucked up colonizers who are out here using black trauma, black pain to sell fucking mammy dolls and Aunt Jemima syrups? You're fucking not. You're fucking not. So yeah, that's my little spiel. I just was like, I was really disgusted. And I'm so tired of people being like, well, basically insinuating that white Hispanic people have every right to the N-word. And it's like, you fucking don't. You fucking don't. Do you know that Spanish is the language of white people? Do y'all not know that? Spanish is the language of white people. So unless, again, I know a lot of people, some people disagree that race is not based off of phenotype. I don't know how you can disagree with that when literally race is a social construct that was built off of phenotype. I don't get that. I saw feminist Jones arguing that, and I have great respect for her, but I don't understand how you could argue that race is not based off of phenotype when literally that's the whole name of the game, was distinguishing people by how they look and the region they come from. I don't know. It's disgusting to me. And I'd have no respect for people who do that shit. Who, you have a distinguished black person who literally does have to walk through their life dealing with the fact that people, at any moment, people could not only kill them for the color of their skin, pay them lower, give them longer sentences, but at any moment you might be having a conversation and you said you're a non-black person, you're having a conversation, my nigga this, my nigga that, but that could so easily turn to you calling a black person the N-word, and you don't see how there's a difference there. Because at the end of the day, like I said, Amber, that can be turned as a derogatory thing to Amber. It can never be turned as a derogatory thing to that white Puerto Rican woman who felt so comfortable and felt such ownership over it. And that's the difference. Joseline needs to do better. She's very abusive to those women. I think Joseline has went through a lot of abusive things and traumatic things, and she's just recreating the cycle. And that's why the Cabaret is such a big deal to her, because I feel like now she has people under her who are very much dependent on her for financial stability and mobility, and she uses that to like just abuse people. Not only that, let's talk about this is a whole nother video for a whole nother day, but let's talk about how all of this is based in black culture. All of that shit is based in black culture, but Joseline very much gravitates to these non-black women. Like, most of the women in the house are either non-black or very, very, very fucking pale. They're either non-black or very beige. And then you go to the intro of her show, and it's a bunch the people who are in her music videos are non-black and very fucking pale, and it's very offensive because the things that you're building your whole brand off of, black women and black people, are the originators, and you don't even respect them enough to actually kick the bitch out that's saying the N-word. Fuck out of here. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much if you stayed to the end of the video. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other. If you're a non-black person who's saying the N-word, go to hell. And yeah, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Wash your hands, wash your face, wear a mask, wash your ass, and don't be a colonizing, fetishizing fucking asshole.